Adrenaline in my soul. Something, something, Cody Rhodes. Wrestling. Whoa. All right, let's see. Where are we? What are we doing here? What's happening? All right, we're excellent. We're going. We're going. We're going hard. We're going hard. We're going hard and deep. We're going deep. As deep as we can. All right, let's see what's going on in X today. Winning. Grum says, we are winning. Storylines have been cut. Baldur's Gate 3 actor warns that diversity is being removed from some games. We have a lesbian relationship here. Baldur's Gate 3 could be a very horny game. Let's see. Generate a summary of the story. Oh my God. Let's just read it. Ever since Donald Trump's win in 2024, in the 2024 U.S. presidential election, companies and their executives were quick to try and curry favor with the president. This included ditching DEI initiatives and policies, which even more companies later joined them on. Following an anti-DEI executive order from Trump, while many of these initiatives were strictly about hiring practices, the sentiment behind this shift in policy was felt everywhere, with the rise in racist, transphobic, and other bigoted laws and attitudes across the United States and beyond. Well, I would love to know more about this. Like, who's the actor? Like, was it a main actor? Was it like, and I don't want to read this. Okay. But here's what I'm going to say about the woke and the DEI stuff. All right. It was kind of shifting anyway. You know what I mean? It was kind of shifting anyway with the DEI stuff. And how do I know that? I know that because you're starting to get things that are a little bit more popular, that are a little bit more masculine or opened to be masculine. Like Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 is a great game because it can be as masculine as you want, as trans as you want, as feminine as you want. And I think that wasn't like the reason it was successful, but it definitely helped. It was definitely a part of it. And why is that important? That's important because it doesn't delete masculinity, okay? It doesn't delete masculinity. See, there's a lot of games and movies not so much, and music and things like that, because like you can't kind of choose your own adventure, right? But in a game like Baldur's Gate 3, it can be as diverse as you want it. You really can kind of tailor it to be your own type of fantasy, even to the point where you can be like, I'm going to be the Dark Scourge, and I'm going to just be, I'm just going to be murdering everybody. I'm going to be a serial killer, You can kind of do whatever you want there. And I really need to play Baldur's Gate 3 on stream. That would be a great game to stream and let the folks make some decisions for me. We may do that at some point, but either way, what I'm saying is that I feel like that you're starting to see masculinity a little bit more accepted and not deleted as much. You're obviously still going to see strong gay, strong whatever, be boosted to the top, but not as much, And two, it's kind of boring now. Like if you just pull back, right? If you just say, because a lot of people are very sensitive to DEI and gay and trans, and people of color and all that, right? And with a lot of folks, it's like, well, if you boost these people and you don't boost these people, you're boosting unfairly and all this kind of stuff, right? And some people say, well, you got to boost these people because they're already at such a disadvantage, so you have to boost them because they're already losing. Okay, take all that out. Take it all out. Put all that to the side. Being gay and trans is kind of not cool anymore. I think for a while it was really cool. And what I mean is it was kind of edgy. You know, I came up during the scene years where like wearing girl pants and straightening your hair and dyeing your hair black and screaming into the microphone and a lot of that stuff was like cooler and more interesting, you know? And getting tattoos and things like that was edgy, and like there was other things that were more edgy at the time. And then what happened is corporations, they get into these trends, right? And this is just kind of like, just to you if you haven't realized this yet. When corporations start getting in on the trends of what is cool, what is edgy, what is the next wave of the underground movement, okay? Occupy Wall Street, going green, right? Climate change, going green, trans, gay, all that stuff. When corporations get into it, it's no longer cool. They make it not cool. They make it not special. And so then the next generation of kids have to come up with their own version of edginess, which is kind of crazy because then you like a lot of times it pushes further and further into like abnormality from the previous generation. So the previous generation's like, what the hell are these kids doing? Furries? They're raccoons, for God's sake, you know, like. But again, if furries were that big of a deal, eventually Ford trucks would be like on Twitter, they like their mascot would be a fox, like a sexy fox dude or woman, built Ford tough, and it would be like a Ford Fox, and he'd have a 6-pack and a bulge in his fur. Like they probably wouldn't show a whole fox penis, but it'd be like a bulge, you know, and a caked up ass or something like that, you know. But yeah, so Pepsi and Coca-Cola would be like, cats are hot, drink a Coke. And then it wouldn't be cool anymore. So I think that's what's up, you know? Like I think that cool eventually becomes cringe because of the people who lean into it. And I noticed this year, and it may just be because Elon Musk bought X and X is different now, and maybe on Blue Sky it was all still that way, but you know, used to on X every June it was like transgender month, gay month, or whatever, Pride month. Like, you know, you still see that, and then like whatever, sure, whatever. Like it's just kind of old hat at this point. It's no longer as shocking. It's no longer as edgy. So that is my point with this. Is like Grums is going to be like, we're winning. See, we're winning. It's like, I don't know if we're winning. I mean, did Trump move the needle? Maybe. I think Trump getting elected showed corporations and showed people that the trends that they thought maybe could keep going were getting a little tiring. Because I think politics is kind of the new trend that we all can agree on. I was talking about this on stream the other night, and this is another point, and we'll move on to the next thing, but we don't really have something that we all know about anymore. You know what I mean? Generationally, I mean. You could talk to a 10-year-old kid in 1990s and the early 2000s. You could talk to a 10-year-old kid, right? And you're like, what's on the radio? Name a couple bands or musicians on the radio. They'd be like Britney Spears, the Foo Fighters, you know, Nickelback, Creed, and Dave Matthews Band. You could talk to a 60-year-old guy or girl and they'd be like, yeah, the Dave Matthews Band's popular right now. It's because we were all listening to the same stuff. You know what I mean? On the radio. And movies too. Movies were the same way. It would be like, hey, what's the movies right now? Oh, the new Mission Impossible is out. Did you see it? Yeah, so it's like it's one of 5 movies that came out. Like it's one of 5 movies that's in Blockbuster, and then it's new. Now it's like you can go to any streaming platform and watch any indie movie, new movie, old movie. Like there's so much content. I could talk to a buddy who me and him love the same kind of movies, and he'd be like, I saw this movie, and I'd be like, I've never heard of that movie. Part of that's my age, but then part of that's the nature of like we're not all on the same page anymore. And then games are the same way too. Back in the day, like in 2004, we were talking about World of Warcraft coming out and like Halo coming out. Like, what game are you playing? It'd be like, Halo. I'm playing Halo. Because Halo is what everybody's playing. Now I could talk to like 5 different people and they'd be like, somebody would be like, I'm playing Fortnite. Somebody would be like, I'm playing Skyrim with mods. Some people, I'm playing GTA 5. Some people play on Baldur's Gate 3. There's like a very short window where like what I'm talking about is everybody. Okay. Well, you could talk to like a lot of people and they'd be like, I've been playing Stellar Blade on Steam, whatever. What I'm saying is like, you could go out into the world and run into somebody in Walmart and be like, do you play games? Yes. What are you playing? Halo. We were all playing Halo. Okay. We were all playing Call of Duty. Now you ask that question to 5 different people, they're going to have 5 different answers. So let's bring it all back to my point. Politics is all we have left in 2025 where we all know the same few key people. They're like bands. They're like popular culture more than they are like a serious topic. I could go to a 10-year-old and be like, what do you know about Donald Trump, Joe Biden, and AOC, and Thomas Massey, or whoever the hell, right? And they'd be like, oh, yeah, I know this and that. Like, they would know what's going on. And I hate that 10-year-olds even know that. But we used to have other things that we all connected with. Go to a 60-year-old person, they all know. And, like, again, that's something that we're all, whether we like it or not, have the same page on. And that's why it's, like, more effective and why it's more popular. I mean, maybe one day maybe there'll be indie politics we can get into. Like, maybe it'll be real popular to go down to the city level and be like, bro, did you see what Mayor Tony tweeted, bro? Like, not just New York, I'm talking about like Ohio, but like Mayor Tony, bro, oh my God. He said, MOGA, dude, make Ohio great again, bro. Can you believe that shit? And like, maybe we would lose sight of like Trump and like the top dogs. What I'm saying is like in culture, that's to me the only thing left that we all know about. And that's why it gets so much traction and gets so much popularity, because it's like, if you just go talk to a stranger, there's really not much to connect on anymore. And that's sad, because politics is the worst of us. Video games, movies, music can all be toxic, but it was at least art. It was at least normal-ish people sending messages, and then sometimes not, but like still, like, at least sometimes it was feel-good stuff. At least sometimes it was fun stuff. Now it's like, we all know about the doom and gloom. We all know JD Vance is tweeting about the flood or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, it sucks. I apologize to the youth out there. Not that I had anything to do with it, but I'm very grateful to grow up in the time that I did, where we all knew, like, we were all listening to the same stuff. And if you did listen to something different, you had to really go out of your way. And even then, you could find your own people. And when you did, it meant something. Because it wasn't online, typically. It was like, you really found somebody that was into Primus. Or you really found someone who was into Portishead. I remember like I almost had an old man moment where I was like, I remember the first time I heard Death Cab for Cutie in New Orleans on a bus, on like a college trip. It was amazing. I should go listen to that album. But yeah, so that's my take on this whole thing, this whole gaming thing where we're winning. My take is like, it's not cool anymore anyway. I think we're going to turn the corner. I think we're going to turn the corner regardless of who gets elected. I think we were going to turn the corner regardless who was winning, because trans, DEI, etc. just isn't as cool, controversial anymore. That's just my take. That's my take.